Me personally, I truly believe this. There needs to be a balance of the two between like, knowing how to balance out the entertainment side of things, knowing how to talk about it also on the player side of things, but then also trying to be as objective of looking at it through the other lens that really is not a part of that field. And each side, if I'm going to be honest, like each side, there is an inherent flaw, right? So on the player side, you go too far deep into just the player aspect. And, I mean, you understand, like there's a bunch of players right now, right? That they know the talent's there, they know the skill is there. They can't really like execute it though, for various different reasons. You can talk about politics and everything, or maybe the game speed, or sometimes just being in the crowds just hurts a lot of people, but they're supremely talented, right? Players a lot of times just focus on the talent aspect of it and who a player is, rather than also focusing on the execution of everything. And then, Stephen A. Smith, you got Stephen A. Smith where he's over here. And then first take guys, they're just more on just the buzzwords, blasphemy, whatever they can say to try to get everyone's engine going. They more focus on that. And Lil Mars, you can say, I guess they're in their own little media circle there. They try to have a balance. I'll be honest. I think they have a pretty decent balance. It's just there's just something absent there at times. I haven't talked to them too often actually for a while, so maybe things have changed. Well, from the last time I talked with them, there's still an absence of like, even me. Like there's still an absence of understanding when it comes to the game. Like I said, if we're going to talk about the holes and the playmate, like the passing gaps and the passing holes that players can really take advantage of to get better, like they can't really like expound upon that, mainly because like being in that scenario and being that ball handler and seeing that from that point of view, like majority of people haven't seen that and haven't been in that type of position. So it's kind of hard to kind of hear someone else's take or even advice on that when they themselves, it's a lot that goes into it rather than just bodies on the court, rather than, okay, there's an opening there that we see from the camera view, but from that point of view of the ball handler, you don't know what they're seeing, even like the player media that's even evolving now, where like guys like Draymond is kind of scaring me a bit, because you can see it's a weird shift with Draymond Green where he's shifting more towards like the Charles Barkley. Like it's crazy actually. Like he's like shifting and turning into Charles Barkley a little bit. Charles Barkley has his flaws when his takes, but I'm not gonna lie. Charles Barkley's must-see TV. I'm not going to hold you. And you know what? That's where the NBA media here today is like really cooked, right? That's where the NBA media and then even the NBA viewership is just like hurting, because they're producing these shows, they're producing these, first take shows and all of these like stuff that it's not really entertaining. I'm going to like I say this all the time when it comes to the NBA. The most important thing when it comes to this business is the entertainment aspect. But even in the media, it's important. But guys like Stephen A., I guess they got so used to defaming players and bringing them down where it's like, it's not even that entertaining anymore, because now you're just predictable and you really just look like a jerk. So that's where you see like guys like Gilbert Arenas is doing phenomenal. Gil's Arenas is doing phenomenal. A lot of these players, Jeff Teague and his podcast is doing great, right? Because they're funny. They're funny. They're entertaining. They enjoy the time together. They have a good time. And I think that's really, honestly, if I'm being completely honest with how I view everything, that's really what's missing in the media. Even Charles Barkley, I was just talking about, like with Charles Barkley, Shaq, Ernie, and those guys. I'm not gonna listen. I'm not watching that. I'm not really watching that to learn. It's funny. They're entertaining. They bring views, and that's a part of the sport. That is a large part of the sport, the entertainment side of things, And when you're just saying things just for views, I mean, people kind of pick up on that. If I'm going to be honest, people pick up on that. They pick up on it. They pick up on the annex. They're pretty smart, especially now. They pick up on the antics, they understand what you're doing, and it's a turn off. So no one really likes that anymore, like they used to like it back then. Like no one likes that anymore. They probably liked that in LeBron's time, maybe because everyone just hated LeBron. They didn't like him. But they're kind of dead to that now. So you have to adjust. And the media always has to adjust. Any type of business, any type of thing you're in, you always have to adjust. You need to change your identity a bit. Actually, I was talking to one of my coworkers about business plan and everything. And I was like, writing a business plan is good, especially for the start. But, a business plan is a plan in general, especially the longer it goes on for, right? It's always changing and always evolving. It's always changing, and there could be a wrench that just messes up everything. So with the media right now, I feel as if the media in the NBA is becoming very stale, and it's becoming stale to the point where, Shannon Sharp was kind of maybe because Shannon Sharp is entertaining. So Shannon Sharp was bringing a different thing, bringing some more flair and entertainment to it, kind of changing things up. But now with him gone, guess what? Now ESPN, now the NBA, when what they're producing for basically content, now it's stale again. Like they got Pat McAfee, which Pat McAfee for football has been great addition because he's entertainment. They need to bring more of that. If I'm going to be honest, I don't know what's taking the NBA like so long. I think they need to do this like immediately. If they want to save their brand, they want to save their media, their entertainment media. Honestly, what they need to do is start trying to hire these podcasters. They need to start trying to hire these guys on YouTube. They need to hire them because they're doing more views than you guys. And maybe they have tried to hire some people. Maybe they have. And they said, no, I get that. But they need to change their identity and then look to really integrate a lot of these content creators, because it's really the content creators in everything. They are taking over. Music, sport, like you got DJ Academics, you got Kai, you got Duke, you got DDG, and then with the sports side of things, you got Girls Arena, Players Choice, Pick a Side. Bro, they're running everything. Let's keep it a buck. What was that? What's that other one? I think that guy Kenny's in it. Man, I forget the name of him. I forgot that name. But the Deep Three, right? Like they need to start integrating those guys more into their media circles. They should be in it, if I'm going to be honest, because they already have an audience that they themselves has created. So the NBA should look to integrate them into that to keep their media alive. And they need to change their media because what they have been doing for the last 30 years is not working anymore. So you need to adjust. And they haven't been adjusting at all. But that's what I think the NBA should do, because content creators are just, man, I'm not gonna lie, like they're becoming the new like superstars, bro. Like it's not your, well, of course you have your athletes, right? Your athletes are always gonna have the most superstardom, but then after the athletes, man, you got, now you have your rappers, your actors, your entertainers, and everything. And I'm not gonna hold you, dog. Like these content creators are like, dog, it's insane what they're doing. So they really need to integrate sports media content creators into their identity and into their brand so that they can be sustainable. Like bring somebody on First Take and let him cook Stephen A. Smith. I'm serious. Bring someone on First Take, a very good panelist, a very good sports internet guy. Let him cook Stephen A. Smith. Let him cook him. Watch how many views they get. Man, JJ Redick got a coaching job because he cooked Stephen A. Smith, dog. And look how many views they was getting. Let them cook. I feel as if they protect their hierarchy. They protect them a lot where they don't want them in those positions, especially the people they favor. But nah, dog, you got to switch that up. You got to switch because the the NBA media is dying, is being taken over by the YouTube podcasters, by the athletes, by the players coming up with podcasters, by the content creators. And the worst thing is the NBA has no control over that. They can say and do whatever they want, which is great. I think it's very independent. And all the content creators out there doing this, keep doing it, you know? But that's the way the NBA needs to try to fix the media today, because what it has turned to, the shifting of it, you know, to keep the same, bro, you know what's going to happen every year. Whoever wins, they're going to talk about where he's going to rank all the time. They're going to talk about, are they going to win back-to-back? They're going to talk about, how will this affect his legacy? Will he catch LeBron? Will he catch MJ? Hey, bro, like, he did it every year. Doing it with Shea. Dang, I got a cut on my head. Doing it with Shea right now. You know? That joint gets old after a while. I'm tired of it. I don't want to hear it. I think a lot of NBA fans are tired of it. And there is nothing that a lot of people like more. And they're seeing the people they don't like get cooked. And that's where Stephen A. getting cooked, dog. That's good TV. That's why he ain't like Max Kellerman. That's exactly why he ain't like Max Kellerman, man. Because you can say whatever you want about Max's takes. I'm not gonna lie. Like when after Skip left, I was watching First Take like faithfully after Skip left with Max Kellerman. Yo, when I say Max was cooking him every single day of the week, bro, I'm like, dang. Like Stephen A., like, that's why Stephen A. didn't like him. That's why he wanted him gone. He just didn't like him. Oh, you know, smartest guy in the room mentality. Nah, because you was getting cooked, dog. You was getting destroyed. He was telling you, yeah, the 2018 Rockets definitely can very well beat the Golden State Warriors. They have the best offense statistically, historically. They can do this. And guess what? They were about to do that. Like, I remember that whole slide that he was giving. He did a whole presentation on that, and he was right. And he was like, and Stephen and Max was like, this is the thing. They actually play defense. They actually play defense. With this great offense, they can definitely beat them. They have the best offense of all time. Stephen A., blasphemy. You don't know what you're talking about. Guess what? They almost lost to them in 7. They lucky CP3 got hurt. Like, Max was cooking him, dog. Max was cooking him. Destroying him. So it's like, so they protect him. And then they shipped him out. They shipped like crazy, bro. They shipped him out. You know? And that ain't right. And then now Stephen A. goes, and just the NBA media circle, it's not even just him, like Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley be nasty with it. I seen Charles Barkley say, you know, he talked about the CBA. They were talking about the CBA, where the CBA and how it's ruining the league, and it was a bad decision. Charles Barkley was like, well, they have to make a dumb decision because they want to keep switching teams all the time. Like, bro, what are you talking about? Just because guys are switching teams doesn't mean it's okay for you to make a dumb decision. Like, you just said out your mouth it was a dumb decision, you know? So just because players were switching teams like a lot, that does not mean that your solution is now a dumb solution to handicap that. And for everyone over here like complaining about super teams and complaining about how guys are jumping back and forth from teams, do y'all really, like, when we look at when that was popular, do we really like understand how many teams was actually winning? Like, how many teams actually won because of that jumping shift creating super teams? You got Braun, where he did it 3 times. Braun is the main one. So 3 different teams, LeBron James. That's 3. Golden State won one with and without KD. They won one with and without KD. Right? So they won 2. Say they won 2 with KD. Right? So now this is 4 teams. 4 different teams. And Golden State, only half of their rings came from that. If we look at everyone else who's been winning, Outside of that, everyone else who's been winning, this started in 2011 when LeBron went to Miami. This is what I don't want. I don't want, okay, one version of media to die for disrespecting players, just a different type of version media to arise, but doing the same thing and disrespecting players. They're just not disrespecting them in the rings and the wins and losses. They're disrespecting them with, oh yeah, you don't play well in the playoffs. Oh, you can't pass the rock. Oh, you turn over the ball a lot. You're not that good. That's kind of crazy too. So like you're still crapping on players just in a different way. The whole crapping on players things, it just got to stop. If I'm going to be honest, crapping on players needs to stop. Now, that's always a thing, but there's not as much of a celebration of players anymore as it was in the 80s and 90s. They celebrated a bunch of players, even in the 2000s. They always they celebrated all-stars, all-NBAers, you being an all-star MVP. They celebrated all of that. They celebrated all of that. We don't even celebrate guys making the All-NBA team anymore, which is more important than an all-star. We don't even celebrate that. And that's everyone as a whole. No one celebrates that. Bro, celebrate it all. That's what's really ruining the NBA media and NBA circle and NBA viewership.